Welcome to another fine evening of Team Fortress. It is teamfortress.tv, and it's not just us as well over on Team Fortress 1. If you're looking for some more Team Fortress 2, if you're looking for some Team Fortress 2 that matters in a way, that emanates to some sort of grand reasoning, we have got some coverage of Bus Crew versus Omni 5 over on TFTV2. Just slap a 2 at the end of the URL. You will be taken right towards our casters, Connor and Eames, over in that channel. But in this channel, we've got TurboTabs, and we've got Nuze, and we've got Gemm on the production as well, who should be... We should give a little bow our caps to. Anyway, Nuze, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you, TurboTabs?
I'm doing okay. I was a little bit perplexed about how we should cover these games tonight. I mean, should we just pick one or the other? Should I not cover the one with Se7en and liest doof that we're doing tonight, or should we cover the bus games? But I didn't have to decide that. Luckily, we two came to the rescue and realised I could just help you guys out and we can cover both of these games. So luckily we are doing that.
Yeah, but... and it was quite short notice as well. It was only a few hours ago that realised we'd be casting this game. Well, at least I did. I don't know, you were probably sooner than that. But I'm looking forward to this one. I mean, even though it doesn't mean too much compared to the other game that's going on. There's a lot of good players. And I like to see, especially how Se7en are doing now with their new roster, because they had an interesting game yesterday against Se7en. And this one, I'm not sure how that will have affected them. I don't know if they were expecting to drop a map. I think most people would have given them, an even game, 1-1 was a fair prediction. But I think, to me, I get the impression that players on Se7en try to hold themselves to higher standards.
Yeah, so we do actually have all the players ready on the server right now. They're just kind of shining his shoes and just prepping the guns. We are going live very, very soon. If you're kind of confused what we are exactly, is ETF2L Season 29 Premiership coverage. Week 7, we finally made it, that long journey, but this is just beginning for these two teams, as these two teams are guaranteed in the playoff. That is Se7en versus liest doof, which translates to roughly as only fools read this, so I guess I am fool news. Maybe let's go for some... We can quickly go for the rosters, maybe one by one, before we go live. So I'll let you take a crack at Se7en. I will list off the Germans.
So we still have Kadis on demo, team captain. We still have Thalash on scout, but the last remaining kind of switch up of the previous roster, Amps has gone back to soldier. And then to fill the gaps of Raymond, Drac, and captain, we have Tiger on scout, big star player. We've got a Disky on roamer, kind of proving himself so far on roamer, considering he played demo and solely demo for a lot before that. And then the big upcomer Seeds on medic.
Ooh, and over on the German side of things, we've got Fortos on medic, or Kratos is probably, you and I know him. Smear is on that demo man. Fishkoff is on that pocket soldier. Crafty Dave is on that roaming soldier. Idlos and Shocky are the two scouts. And I had to go through that quick news because we've just gone live.
We've just gone live, going to this first mid. We're going to see, it looks like, both demos going towards house. Kate is playing on the balcony, actually. Smear's quite passive in choke. Se7en are taking position. No one's really committing too deep. Ams makes an entry bomb, and it just follows up really good entry damage from the start of that mid. Seeds is in such a careful position right now. It's not much risk to Se7en right now, and they should be able to clean this up. That's a full wipe.
Yeah, we didn't touch upon what maps we were covering this evening. It will be Pro Lands and it will be Process, and because it's Pro Lands news, it looks like that Se7en are going to be in a comfortable place in this game because they love their 5CP. I feel like this team does not falter on 5CP. And they're going to be feeling it tonight, and you could tell for them that middle.
Yeah, and they're taking this Uber into last now. Kadis in top left to get good damage on the sentry. Kratos is on the floor. Everyone else is in the spawn. This is not a good position for the Germans to be in. Kadis dies to Thalash, who's now gone behind the point. There's a flank from Fishkoff, and he gets two. Seeds and Kadis both going down, and off the back of that, it looks like the Germans should be able to hold this. Tiger getting cleaned up finally. Kratos did die in that last push, and it's going to be... not too much going forward beyond the second, but a really nice last defense, and I think a lot of that on the back of Fishkoff's flank.
Yeah, because they had so many healthy numbers alive at the end of that little skirmish, they will get that spire capped off really quickly, so they're going to have to settle up for a defense over on Se7en, which they're not too used to with this squad, but they've still got some growing pains with the new roster, and they're probably having to talk through not just Seeds, but Adiski and Tiger, and just roughly how they do things in a Cadus lineup. So it looks like right now they're just going to sit Cadus on the choke, have the soldiers and the scouts kind of poke around that house area, and wait for the Germans to make their mistake.
I feel like even though it's completely even Ubers, neither team seems to be doing anything too proactive. I feel like Se7en are going to be the ones to open this up, and I think so far from what I've seen of Adiski and his roaming stint on Se7en, he's been very good at filling Drak's shoes, and I think a lot better than most people would have expected him to be. Clip going down as the Uber comes in from choke, Se7en going aggressively through Hunter. Counterpop comes out from Kratos. Amps is behind on second. The Germans are trying to take it in choke, but with that one player down, they can't quite cover everything. Adiski looking to move in on resub. Fishkoff's pressured out, and there's a lot of pressure and aggression coming out of Thalash. Cadus on the point, Smear going down. Everyone's weak for the Germans, and they should be getting cleaned up here. Soldier trying to contest, but it's not meant too much. Fishkoff maybe going to get a nice rocket onto Tiger, but it looks like they're all going down. 10 seconds on the spawn for Aedalos and Kratos, and we should be seeing Se7en push into last soon.
Yeah, you see the ability of what a player behind can do. It draws the attention of the Germans from not only the front but towards the back as well. Se7en cutting me off with a quick cleanup of that last point capture. 1-0 will be on the scoreboard already, News, but I don't think anybody's surprised here.
Yeah, I think after that first mid, most people would have thought Se7en would convert on that last push. They ended up not doing too hot, but they managed to get Kratos, and they just controlled the repush into second and had good momentum going into last. I think the Germans committed for a little bit too long there. This time round, it looks like a bit more of a valley position for everyone on the German side of things. Smear mirroring Cadus on balcony. Tiger goes down instantly to Stefan and Smear. There must have been stickies he didn't see. Fishkoff is pressuring Seed so much in the slope that he can't quite walk up. Not many heals in good positions for Se7en. Diski going in as well aggressively, but doesn't quite get any trade. 3 players down for Se7en. Seeds and Thalash are going to back up and meet Cadus on Stone Bridge, but this is the Germans going through choke now.
Yeah, it was a very nice kind of space-making bomb coming out from Clip. It allowed them to gain the ground that they needed to do. By the way, Clip is playing. I did say Crafty Dave was playing, but you know me, I get fooled by the event on teamfortress.tv. But yeah, so Clip did a wonderful job of taking space and allowing his team to kind of take the point off and just push out the rest of Se7en from that point on. And AMS is like, I've had enough of this. I'm going to go spy. I'm going to see if I can kind of put a wrench in the works.
He's walking up through the shutter now. He's in a decent position to just play the slow game, peek around the little corners that he can, take position where he can. It doesn't look like anyone of the Germans is kind of looking for him. I think Fishkoff just saw him then disguised as a scout and just thought nothing of it. It looks like Clit and Fishkoff are going to be trying to spam for that sentry. And they have found the spy behind. Amps has been found by a scout. He's trying to clean him up now. Does go down to Stefan, and now an opening for the Germans.
Yeah, so with AMS going down, they're actually going to just opt to throw one person in, not risk it all on just that one little pick of AMS, and probably the wisest decision. He is back to the world of living now, and it's not even like Ubers have been exchanged, and Kratos is even on fire, so he's not thinking about pushing right now. But someone's got to make a move eventually, News, and if the gentleman's honour is any sort of thing in TF2, it's usually the winning team that goes first.
Yeah, and I feel like they do have a good opening to do it. The position that Se7en have in this hold right now, it's a bit odd. There's no cover on top left except a Adiski at the shutter, and I feel like if they're... the only way they have him in that position is if they're willing to give it up completely and have him just play in the spawn. I feel like if the Germans can peek and get the information and realize this, they can just overwhelm top left, and then you're in such a different position to fight the last fight that you don't need to commit to popping early.
So they are kind of rotating a few players around, mainly just kind of getting a sightline of that Pyro. Maybe they can knock him off from that little sort of perch, but he actually does sit back. They're building almost a little base back here. They've got a level 3 dispenser. They've moved the sentry gun again over on Se7en. They're cozy. They don't want to move at all.
Yeah, I think they're quite content. Badlands last is not easy to push when it's both teams in completely even advantages, and they're one round up. This is Se7en's bread and butter. This is probably a really good thing for the new guys on the team to get accustomed to when they're playing these situations in games against opponents that could actually, you know, upset them should the stars align.
I mean, this is a great opportunity news while we've got a slowdown period and AMS does get killed off there, but AMS is probably the martyr for the team. He's going to go down every now and then, but oh, actually no, they're making a push off this and they're doing roughly what you wanted them to do, News. They're kind of overwhelming that right-hand side. Disky will show his face back there and will get actually cleaned up by Idolos, and they've taken that right side successfully. They will try and pressure the point, but he does get taken out by a mixture of Flash, Tiger, and sentry gun there. So with that player going down, they're kind of wondering what do we even do at this point, and decide to do a tactical retreat, but it's not too tactical as they do lose Smear and everyone's just bleeding all over the place. News.
Yeah, Smear just overcommitted a little bit too long. I don't think it was properly communicated that they had completely given up left and there was a soldier pushing him from his blind side. So that was kind of the nail in the coffin to that attempt of using any advantages on last. But they did a really good entry when they got in, they rushed the 2 scouts in, they got a pick. I think Smear got a nice pipe onto Flash somewhere, and then they just overwhelmed the soldier top left. They were in without popping Uber and it was 6 versus 4, and I feel like they could have slowed it down and, you know, used the spawn wave, the timing that they were in the respawn queue to create something a bit more stable, but they didn't really do anything with it, and they got forced back to this position as we think we have a pause.
Yeah, it has gone off to a pause, and I hope that doesn't mean what I think it means, but I guess we get to appreciate or talk about the more nuanced part of the tactics news. What is the... Oh, we do actually have an unpause, but yeah, what is the win condition for Se7en right now? I mean, they made that defense quite successfully, but they didn't really feel like pushing out on it. What would be the ideal conditions for Se7en to push out here?
I think what Se7en really want is a good set of kills at the end of a last hold that come at the same time, because it's so hard to contest Badland second when you're pushing out from last. If you don't have 6 players up, and even if they have a few, they can delay so long to the point where they get spawners before you've got much cap time. And I feel like they need a big spawn wave to just give them that safety when they're pushing out the time to do everything.
So they are 1-0 up right now, and it is 20 minutes left on the clock, but they can't seriously be thinking of parking the bus at this point. So they're just going to kind of wait for another mistake, another opportunity for them to claw back here.
Smear is on quickie bombs. I don't know if we pointed that out, but he was pressuring this pyro top left. Adalos going in for a sack top right. Disky, or will follow up on the damage, but they will lose 2 there. Still quickie bombs for Smear, and this is where it's not ideal to have it, when there's an opportunity for your opponent to push out and you only have 4 stickies in the clip to deny area. So this could be costly for the Germans if Se7en try to use their advantages pushing out of last year. But if you can't make the last pushes work and you're stuck with quickie bombs beyond that, then it becomes so difficult to do anything defensively.
Well, it's a good thing Smear had something else in his pipeline. He had the ability to send Tiger a virus or something, or just make him disconnect from the game. So now that he has come back to his team, that has kind of stunted any sort of thought of a push for the Se7en boys. So they're going to just kick it back at last one more time, and hopefully 3rd time's the charm here, News.
It's interesting. I feel like they're definitely going to try something with the quickies here, because Fishkoff was in the spawn holding the door for a while, and as soon as the guys on second started to move forward, Fishkoff left the spawn. So I feel like they were debating the decision whether to switch off quickies or maybe get something else involved, but it seems like they decided against it. So I feel like, based on what I saw there, I feel like they should be trying to make a play with the quickie bombs here.
I do like Adisky picking up that black box, gives him a bit more sustainability on that flank, really embraces that sort of patient survivor Roma, where you want to kind of stay back, watch the flank, make sure that nobody gets behind in those filthy nooks and crannies, as they will throw AMS in good AMS fashion in this game so far. He's going to keep trying to make things happen for his team, but keeps coming up short because it's such a tall ask for any soldiers. So we're just kind of waiting on things to kind of start gaining some traction here, but neither teams are finding anything.
Yeah, it's not looking too great. I think at this point Se7en are definitely playing for the round timer reset. There's 3 minutes 20 on the clock. Fishkoff taking a lot of damage in main. He doesn't get cleaned up. Really close. Almost had the rocket that he needed.
Oh my god.
Tiger with a big reflect pipe onto Smear, getting the kill there. That's going to stun any attempt at pushing here for the Germans. So much damage being put out as well, still, as they're trying to back out of second. I do hear a banner being popped. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
It's
it
coming
looks
from
like
a Disky. Yeah, I guess that pro of using the black boxes, you can also justify having not having the gunboats on your side because you've just got a bit more health in your arsenal. He will run the banner, and they are trying to hold on to this second pointer, the Germans. They will send one player enough to block it for now, but Adiski just does his soldier thing, shoots the ground, gets a kill, and Fishkov will kind of knock him off his perch for now, delaying even more time against Se7en, but slowly but surely nuze will go to the side.
Yeah, Disky just capping there, playing Tiger and spamming, barely needing any heals in that fight, just playing the waddle pocket. Se7en might die in house, he gets ignited as he's backing out. It was on 22 HP, I think, maybe 24. But Se7en are stacking the point now. They've denied one spawner, they've got a free player advantage now. Tiger's still on the Pyro Haunter, he's going to try and make a play maybe, baiting Reflect Rocket, Clip, rather carelessly shooting a rocket at the Pyro there, but they seemed good enough to react. He was peeking the door for quite a while. Soldiers trading damage in-house, but it's just... they're going to try to do something with Tiger here, because they keep the Pyro. He actually gets a reflect 5 kill onto Se7en walking into that choke. And this is a great opening for Se7en to start a push here.
Pick a door, any door nuze. They can enter it for free now without the danger of a demo man, as they actually will pop in from this haunted doorway. I'm surprised out of all the doorways, they picked the smallest, crampest doorway, but it's a doorway nonetheless. They do give it a try, they pop for the Uber, they will force out the Uber from Fishkov and his army, and things have just settled down again. But Se7en have reset things, gone back to the mid, and decided that they need to build that Uber quicker than Kratos, and this is the way to kind of start making this push into second with an Uber advantage.
Yeah, now, actually, the Germans looking to counter-attack, diving through the choke. They get damage onto Seeds, but Se7en are just around him like a force field. He does go down to Adelos. Cadis getting a double down kill onto Kratos. It doesn't look like this is favoring the Germans at all. The spawn advantage will come into play, but Amps is weak, Cadis is weak. Maybe something can happen here. Se7en in house actually gets Cadis. Tiger loses the 1v1 against Stefan in house, and with the spawners coming in earlier, really late deaths for Se7en, the Germans should be able to get onto mid and deny much attempt to block.
It's got to be a bit scary though if you're on the German side, where you've got all these respawners coming in, and it's not a long trip from that midpoint to that forward hold of the respawner, and they will actually give up the point knowing that they've got so many reinforcers back in the sight line. And Clip will get the pick onto Seeds now with that little advantage. They need to just start protecting Kratos over on the second point now, as they're going to be banking to get that kill equalized over on the side of Se7en, but they've decided they're not going to get the Kratos kill. It's too difficult for kill. They're just going to start hiding on this midpoint. And let's see, Adiski does jump in onto Kratos, does get cleaned up by a nice pipe from Se7en and a nice surf from Kratos as well. And one thing we haven't touched upon there is that's not any Uber, that's a crits Krieg over on Kratos.
Yeah, and Seeds is on 21%. There is a spanner in the works, however. Thalash is on Sniper, he is on balcony. There's no invulnerability with the crits. The Med's walking around choking. Kratos headshot. Thalash denies that aggression from the crits. There is a soldier onto Seeds and he hits the airshot.
Get destroyed! Seeds has been taken back again to the respawner, what seems to be third time in a row. Oh my god, Flash! You insane beast! He just got... that was way too close, way too close. It was almost a melee range, and Flash, he's feeling pretty good. He's actually decided to move up, go aggressive on this sniper. Clip kills himself against Adiski, who was chasing him down all the way to mid, and a very similar situation that the Germans were in not too long ago, that when they were fighting off Se7en and they got those reinforcements, now shoes on the other foot, the Germans have got their reinforcements and they're back on the midpoint defending now.
Yeah, they're moving towards choke now, establishing their position. Thalash still on the sniper, just playing from balcony, right above the shutter. Tiger's building right now, Adiski's holding a drop down, the safe position to be in, and Se7en has also switched back to regular stickies. So we're seeing more of a natural order here. No more pyro, no more quickie bombs. There's a little bit of sniper in play, but you know, that's been in the game for a while. Interesting stickies on the choke for Cadis. I think he's expecting a bomber because he's got them high. It is kind of the onus is on the team with mid to make the kind of sack play. Clip moving towards choke, kind of baiting some peeking from the Se7en players, but he's not going to commit to the sack at that point.
So with Flash still on this sniper, they must have been taking note news. So they know they've got a sniper on their hands over on the Germans. So what is the play here? Oh, actually no, they make a force onto Seeds and Co. And they decide that it's bad enough Uber as is, and they will just kind of reel it back, not even go aggressive with it, and just take their lumps, as they have used the Uber to kind of force that Uber out from them. Flash is on sniper watch. He takes out Fishkoff in midair, very stylish from the Danish there, and they're on the back foot, the Germans. It's only Smear, it's only Se7en alive, but maybe that's enough to hold on to the second point. Not anymore with Kadus kind of moving up his gear and making sure that
can Adiski make something happen?
Oh, Kratos was brought down low, but not low enough. He will survive with like 10 HP or so and pick up a health pack, and it's like it never happened. Kadus is jumping straight up in the air again, trying to get that cap point started on capping, and they don't want to give this up, so much so they actually dedicate Smear in a very unfavourable spot to actually go down to holding on to the second point. Clip has made his way behind, but he can't really find the connecting rockets onto Seeds. That's the kill he's looking for, and he will not get it today, Nuze.
Really good job by Se7en there to just know that the rest of the spawners weren't quite with the Germans, and they did have more players on second, so they just wanted to trade damage because they knew they'd be able to do it positively. They got the picks, and they managed to extend that from their second now onto the Germans last. Kratos did manage to stay alive throughout the whole thing, however, so he does have an Uber to defend this last year. Aedalos getting sniped by Thalash, who's been sniping again from last. Doing his headshot again onto Smear.
You cannot reflect those sniper bullets, they're just way too quick. He will get a headshot onto Smear, and that will bring off enough pressure to actually keep the Uber fight going. They will actually use the Uber now on both of these sides. AMS is caught in no man's land, and he will survive. He's actually whizzing around with the escape plan at the moment, and during all this time, they're just overwhelmed. That was Se7en taking over that last point, kind of putting them through the grinder, running around, avoiding them, kiting them, if you will.
Yeah, well, so at the start of the Uber, both players, the soldier and scout that were playing top right for the Germans, fell off onto the low ground, and it was just Smear in an Uber by himself, and he couldn't really do anything. So by the time the ensuing fight happened, and Smear was the only one that got to use the Uber, it was just kind of all over for the Germans, because Se7en managed to stay alive and put out much more damage.
These mids have been going fair few for each side now, one apiece when it comes to the mid, so I'm very interested to see how both teams adapt, and they go a bit more defensive on Se7en, and it's paying dividends for them. They will get the Se7en pick early on, and that kind of leads into this double soldier aggression that gets the Idolos pick as well. That's no scouts for the Germans, and we all know what happens when it goes past 20 seconds Nuze on the mid and they've got no scouts. It's usually the sign of a losing team. They're going to lose that mid point, and they're going to likely lose the second point as well because of it.
Yeah, not a single death there for Se7en. Kratos with the latest death didn't even kill bind, so they'll be walking into this. I mean, they should be a bit further forward if they wanted to do it optimally, but they'll be walking into this with more of an advantage than they can hope for. You know, they don't need to commit to going for the medic or forcing a trade. They can just use this to take position, get frags, establish control, and it should be easy enough for them to do that, unless something magical happens on the German defense.
Oh, they're going for a double soldier sort of thing in the bottom right hand corner. They want to get the pick onto Fishkoff. He will manage to squeak his way back into the respawner queue and waste this Uber for Se7en now, and they're point pressuring, and they will throw a scout on there, and the kills are slowly going away, but no one is watching the point Nuze, and the point means another point on the board for Se7en. They will win well, they will lead this map into a possible win, 3-0 for the Se7en so far.
It was interesting because the post-Uber position was terrible for Se7en. All their players were on the floor, the Germans had the high ground, but they just kept playing the point, and I don't think the defending side was really expecting it, and they didn't quite react properly. Even though they had 5 players alive, they lost the cap there.
So, another mid. If this is keeping fair in any way, the Germans should start winning out on this. Not going to win if they lose Smear in the first 10 seconds of the mid, and they decide to kind of go balls in, see if they can get that kill onto Seeds and kind of equal out on the Ubers at least, and try and claw back the round from that point on. But Seeds will not go down, he will survive, and they will slowly get this mid as well. They do have Clip running around being a pest in their own house, but it's still going to be Se7en's mid point despite this.
Yeah, pretty stable. Clip finally dying now. Forward spawners coming in. Adiski's on spy actually moving out, so they know it's even Ubers, they know Kratos died, and I really like that he made the decision on his initial spawn that he was going to off-class, because I feel like a lot of people, when they're dying early and they know it's a stalemate, they could just take an off-class early, but a lot of people come out on the standard classes and then they have to sack a player, and I feel like it's an unnecessary disadvantage to give yourself. So I like that he did it out of the spawn. He's just peeking in main. Se7en aren't really in lobby yet, they're moving in now, so they're going to check, establish position, get in a good place to hold, and then I think that's when Adiski's going to strike.
Or is he going to strike? It looks like he's playing sightseeing more for now, as he will actually get into a position where he can just actually uncloak. But you've got a Pyro constantly on watch right next to a sentry gun. I'm not sure if he's ever going to get a chance to get a backstab here as the spy. He does kind of creep up now. He whiffs the backstab against Kratos, and Kratos is none the wiser. He's like, oh, what just happened? We got a kill? Okay, good job, team.
I feel like it was perfectly timed, but just didn't quite connect when he got to the point of doing the stab. Unlucky for Adiski, lucky for Kratos. Like you said, none the wiser, and they're looking to push now with the Pyro. Se7en dies to a sticky trap, and they should be cancelling this. Smear backing out on the left side.
AMS, he's in, he's bomb onto Smear as well, and thank God there's a sentry gun news, otherwise Smear would have been dead alongside AMS, and things are going to actually make start rolling here for the Germans. They make a push out. The Pyro's on. The Pyro will set a light Adiski. That is another player down. That's both soldiers for Se7en, and it's a shame that Kratos has got such a lock on this choke and this sort of outer base area. They will pop an Uber straight into this main doorway to take advantage of Clip's out of position, and they're just starting to ransack the point, get everybody on there. Thank God the Pyro just dishes out as much damage as it does. There's 3 players to face off against Fishkov. A medic joins his side, and Kratos has to do. He will go down, and it will be a 4th round on this board, and there's only 6 minutes left, Nuze. Mercy.
I feel like, I mean, Se7en did well to push that there, but going out, drop down like that, and Kratos just dying, it was just so careless. I feel like they took more risks than they should have in the position they were in, and then you know, it was kind of a lost cause by the time it was actually on the last point. But going into this mid, they're 4-0 down, there's 6.5 minutes left. I feel like the Germans, if they want to get anything done, they have to change up the mids and they have to go a bit more aggressive. It looks like we see a big entry bomb from Clip, Fishkov following up. They've taken a lot of position top right. Smear died early, but I don't know if that's the worst thing in the world. They've got really good control of the map thus far. Se7en now trying to re-establish position. They clean up both the soldiers who are weak. Ada lost and Kratos are not in a good position now. They're trying to run out through Valley. Stefan's still behind. I feel like they should be able to make it out of here. Se7en not going to take the risk. Adiski finally cleaning up Stefan, and with that late death, it's a 3-player advantage going into second, which they'll be able to take for free.
It's a little bit uncharacteristic of a double soldier bomb there, Nuze. You think that somebody's going to be dying during this double soldier bomb, whether it's the soldiers or it's the enemy team, someone's got to die, but neither of that happened in that little mid. Everyone kind of just played it calm. Both the demos were took away from the game, and Se7en, just with their experience alone, know what sort of positions and areas were better to keep on that sort of Badlands mid. Adelos will just walk into Flash, and is the Pyro of the modern age. He will get that kill just by spraying and praying, and Seeds is caught in a bad position. Maybe they might be able to chase down this kill, and they've got nobody dedicated to actually chasing down this medic. Oh, I say that, and Fishkov gets a double kill, not just against Seeds, but against Tiger as well. So with Se7en wiped out, that is probably going to be a mid, and maybe even a second point for the Germans.
Yeah, I feel like with the late medic death, it's more than enough to keep it going, but we do have a pause, and I'm just looking at Smear cycling through the air as he leaps forward as we unpause. Some spawners for Se7en, it looks like Cadis and the Lash, if my scoreboard tells me the truth. Everyone else from the Germans getting onto point, they deny most of the other spawners. Adiski manages to get it as well, and he's hiding in resub right now. He's probably going to be looking for a flank soon.
Yeah, Cadis, oh my god, Cadis just dies. He did not see it coming. Smear just went so high up in the sky that Cadis didn't look high enough. He got snuck up upon, maybe waiting for some sort of trap play, and he will pay the price. And without a demo man to defend that last point, or at least get those sticky set up, it puts them in a awkward spot for Se7en right now.
Fishkov's in on the point. He walked in top right, the same hole in their defense as last time. Tiger gets another flag pipe kill onto Smear. That's the 3rd one this game. Thalash sentry cleans up. Fishkov left alone, dies on the point. That will be almost nail in the coffin for the Germans, but Kratos on 86%. They didn't see
What
him.
is this position? What? Okay, this is very, very strange. I guess they were really hoping that maybe we could get the skip on them, do a sort of medic backcap thing, but Kratos just walks into his death, dies, and now they've got only a spy to really pick up the pieces at this point, and they do have Smear at midpoint, but oh wow, he actually gets a kill onto Tiger. That's very impressive for Smear. I was expecting him to go down in the house as well, but Kados doesn't quite land the precise enough stickies to get that clean-up kill. Adiski is kind of hanging about in the flank area, might get cleaned up if they bother to turn around. He actually finds Kratos. He wants to start slapping him with some stuff. He actually gets the kill onto Kratos. This is
we have a
very
double
strange
spy right
TF2.
now. Aidelos got a kill with the revolver. Spy coming out the force spawn gets the lash. Se7en, what are you doing? This is madness right now. 3 minutes 20 left. Kratos is 5 seconds before he's alive. Se7en have Uber. They're only down a soldier and a scout with a spy behind on second. I feel like we should be seeing curtains in about 20 seconds.
I know you guys are probably taking a double take at the title. Yes, this is Prem TF2 right now, but let me draw your eyes to the timer once again. It's 4 rounds left, 3 minutes left. There's no possibility that the Germans can claw this back, so they're going to have a little bit of fun. They're just going to start making any sort of light of this game so far, and they will put us out of our misery, Se7en, any second now. There we go. 5-0 on the board.
I think
Everyone
it was 23
expected
seconds.
Well, that was neat. That was tidy. That was. We don't get many 5-0s this season, or at least not throughout the so far. We still got playoffs, but still.
I feel like it's like you said though. It's Se7en. It's Badlands. They're gonna be pretty comfortable on this map. It wasn't like they were steamrolling from the start. They just didn't really make mistakes and got the rounds one at a time. And I feel like that's pretty much the story of this one as far as the kind of team strategy goes into it.
Well, I'm sure we'll have some logs loaded for everybody any second now as I refresh my own page. But while we're waiting for them while we're waiting for them to load news, why don't you tell us who do you think was the MVP for both of these teams? Who's the most valued player in this server right now?
I feel like for the Germans, it's a tough one. I feel like a lot of the time Shockey was having pretty good moments in the middle of fights, taking good initiative. I probably wouldn't say Smear. I think he had a bit of a worse performance than he usually does. A lot of the time Tiger got ridiculous playmaking kills on Pyro on him, and he just died a bit too much, and that's uncharacteristic of him as a demo. So I think that's probably a strength that they didn't have. I wasn't too impressed with some of the things Kratos was doing either, but I feel like their soldiers did a good job most of the time. But I think I'm gonna give it to Se7en.
I think if I had to pick out my own personal favourite, it'd probably be Adiski. I feel like he had some pretty nice moments. These sort of little plays that you don't really that take over the stream. It's not quite clippable, but they're admirable. If I was the team leader, if I was Kado headmaster himself, I'd be proud of my boy Adiski right now.
Yeah, he seems to be slotting into that roamer quite nicely. Amps and Adiski, it's very different to, I think, how the dynamic of soldiers has been on Se7en in the past.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know. It's just they're quite different to the other. I mean, Amps has played soldier with them in the past, but he kind of found his own in the scout role, and now he's back. And it's different from having captain on pocket as well. Say.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the first step of what could be a very long journey for this squad. And it's a pretty good step to take. 5-0, not bad for your first set of wins. They also took that victory against Ascent, spoilers, yesterday, and they did lose out on like a golden cap slightly, but golden cap, schmolden caps. Let's look at the logs. Anything drawing your eye, News?
Well, when you look at the demo deaths and kills, it's like quite a different story. Kada's dying 8 times, one more than his medic with 16 kills, and KD's quite a good indicator generally of demos playing well nowadays in the meta. And when you look at Smear, he's 6 for 12. It's not quite the same story.
Yeah, the poor boy was just being bullied by those pipe reflects constantly, and I was a little bit confused when I saw Tiger pushing out on this pyro. Is this just TF2 nowadays news, or Se7en kind of playing it a little bit more relaxed here? Is this the sort of thing you'd see Tiger doing in a grand final scenario?
I wouldn't say it's, super carefully thought out, but I definitely don't think it's relaxed. I think Se7en and, quite a few teams nowadays since the Pyro update have noticed the potential that Pyro has. Because it's a much more powerful class in fights, and there's a lot more you can do. Like, there was 2 separate moments where, Pyro plays or changed the game, not to count Tiger's reflect kills, but Lost pushed, got a kill onto Cadis and traded with the Lash, and it pushing out of last. That's how they pushed out of last and got onto Se7en's last. And I feel like there's so much potential with Pyro, and I wouldn't expect Se7en to play Pyro, even if it was something, that they really don't do very often. But I feel like they'd be taking it seriously and trying to maximize the potential of the class. And you didn't see Tiger dying in bad places as Pyro. He played very safe, like you would play on any other class on Se7en. No one really throws away their lives in how Cadis wants to play the game. And he was having a lot of impact in fights and denying Ubers in a few different places. So I feel like there's more to the Pyro than meets the eye.
Taking a look at the medic stats now, and this would be an excellent time to segue into our new fresh face in the server. You might have saw a sneak peek of him in the last game with Se7en as well, but it's Seeds. And how did Seeds do in your first full showing of him, Nuze, in your live sort of beholding of this new medic? Is he an up-and-comer? Is he pretty good, pretty bad, pretty safe, or is Se7en just making him look really good right now?
I mean, there's definitely some degree of that, because I've heard it from many different players playing different classes when they join Se7en, and they all say there's nothing like, playing Scout for Se7en or playing Soldier for Se7en or, playing Demo, because there's just kind of a synergy that's been going on for too long within that team. I think less so now because it's the biggest change that the roster's seen in a while, but at that level, I think it's going to be pretty easy to play on Medic if you're capable enough. But I mean, if you want to try and criticize Seeds, there's not much to go on here. One thing that's always impressed me from what I've seen of him, he always has very high heal output. You can see more than 100 more heals per minute than Kratos. He didn't drop, and he had the lowest deaths on the server. And his heal spread looks good. Adiski liking to play with very low heals, kind of like Drak did. And everyone else getting an adequate amount of heals otherwise. I mean, Thalash, maybe you'd expect a bit more, even though he is the flank scout, maybe a bit less heavy on the soldier or less heavy on Cadis. But he was playing sniper for a lot that game, so I feel like the heal spread's good. From as far as the stats are concerned, he did a great job, and I can't think of any big mistake he made during the game, so Seeds played really well in that one.
Yeah, healthy. The only thing we're kind of crying out for now is just the big Raymond plays, and I gotta admit, Nuze, with Raymond leaving me, I feel like a hole has been left in my heart. I do love those medic plays, and Raymond gave them like almost consistently 4 times per map, per half an hour. Is this guy really going to be the next medic, or I don't know. I guess that's way too much of a way to question. We could probably move into some of these other stats as well before I get into a love tangent about Raymond. And look at that domination board there, Nuze. This tells you who's been bullying who throughout this entire match, and believe it or not, it's actually occupied by a German bullying one of the Se7en players. Lost kind of milking AMS's life there.
Yeah, and what I was saying earlier, like I'm not trying to criticize Amps, saying that he's bad compared to Captain, but they do play different styles on the class,
yeah.
And I feel like that's one of the bigger changes, because Captain wouldn't be dying to Ada lost 7 times, but that's not to say that Amps doesn't do things that Captain wouldn't do. But I mean that's kind of the anomaly here when you look at this board. It's I mean, Amps has +4 on 2 of both German soldiers, and then look at the frags. Otherwise, Thalash and Amps both quite positive on a lot of the Germans.
Yeah, if I had to sum up the play styles between those 2 players, is Captain's more like I wouldn't say the slow-moving tank, but he's just like a tank, He comes in, he's a force to be reckoned with. He's a scary guy, and AMS is more like the wild card. Sometimes he's going to come in, he's going to be the one that's first one through the door, and sometimes he's the last one out as well. Sometimes he's also the last one out in pieces, but still, it's two very wildly different soldier players, and that's what makes it so great to see about this new Se7en lineup, is that they have to kind of gel with these whole new play styles and all new styles about it, and pulling it off to reasonable success, to say how how much the roster has changed and yet how little the placement in their ETF2L tables has changed.
Yeah, I mean, it should be pretty interesting to see. I think, I mean, at the start of the season, obviously with the different roster they had in the run-up to Rewind, Se7en were in quite a good position to just do their thing and be pretty dominant. Ascent giving them a few close games, but with the new roster, I mean, they've kind of lost a bit of progress that they had there, but they've got a fresh place to start and they've got a lot of potential. You know, there's a lot of good players that have joined the squad. But going into this mid, I feel like they're just going to have to try and get back into that place and keep it going, lock this one out and get the 6 points.
It's a new squad, a new time, a new mid, and a new map. It is CP Process. It is still Se7en versus we, das liest if doof. I think I butchered that, but either way, let's see if Se7en butcher the Germans just as badly, as they will actually throw in AMS, who kind of gets peppered out of the sky, picks up a health pack, and just veers back to his team. They will find the first blood against Stefan, but the position is a bit kind of scary for Se7en here. Kados even gets cleaned up, kind of begging for the crossbow, and it just took way too long to come. Tiger will do a good job of kind of providing his team some room, but they just take another double take on that German squad, realise it's just one scout up there, and take the rest of the mid from that point on.
We were singing his praises earlier, but Seeds missed 2 crucial arrows on that fight, and Disky would have lived, or sorry, Amps would have lived, and Kados would have lived if he had hit them. And, you know, it's kind of not probably what Se7en are used to, but, you know,
clip.
they did a good job.
He did get in, and I think the evil stare bug came to bite him in the ass there. You know, that old chestnut news, that one where you shoot a rocket at the stairs absorbs it. Oh, god damn the source engine.
The hungry stairs. Soldier coming in now.
Oh my god!
Market gardener from Disky.
Well, that is not something Drac would do. I can guarantee you that.
And that's what I mean. Those new players, man, that wild card, that flair, there's a lot of playmaking potential. Look out for Disky and look out for Tiger. I'm sure we're going to see more of the same throughout this game. I noticed he had the Market Gardener on last game towards the end, but we didn't see him do anything too huge with it, but we've seen players do good big things with that in the past. In any case, Se7en taking this mid. They don't really stack the point here because they know everyone's spawned already for their opponents, so they're just going to try and take space and use this uber advantage because Kratos is only on 30%.
That's got a sting, news. Usually the Germans have DD5F doing that for them, and now to be hit by their own shovel. Ooh, as Kados has taken so much ground here. Not only has he got the kill onto Clip, he's still moving on up. He wants to get this kill on Stefan as well. AMS will take that privilege away from the Englishman, as they will get that second point, and they're already moving into this last point. There's no stickies. There are some stickies on point now, but it's a little too late. They're actually kind of getting ground against Smear, and he has to take the long trip all the way around to the spawn to try and rotate to the other side, but during that time Se7en just capped off that point. The round has been hit on the head there. 1-0 for Se7en.
1-0 for Se7en. Is that your pin number? Anyway, going into this mid, we're gonna see Smear going for the fast rollout actually onto the kit. Kados a bit faster, gets a bit more positive damage here, but both of them are just gonna get arrowed up. Let's see if the heal output can be matched by Seeds. Last mid didn't quite make it up. Pressure getting traded on the point. Everyone kind of retreating and going forward and retreating. Clip comes in, big 2 rocket onto Seeds. They just need to cover Kratos now. Germans playing good positionally. Smear gets caught out, but there's an opening. Tiger's got some good damage onto Kratos. He's going to come back in. Amps is still alive as well. Kratos is back in choke. Talash coming in now. He's got a chance, but I don't think he realizes that Kratos was there, otherwise he would have shot him. Doesn't look like Tiger wants to give up. Amps is already out. He might be looking to recommit. Does now actually get onto the high ground. He gets 1 rocket onto Kratos, but he surfs around the corner.
Man. The differences between the jumps of Clip and the differences of Adisky is the fact that they're just a lot more damaging for Clip. Clip gets into a nice little place where he puts out a lot of damage, while Adisky is very telegraphed. He's up in the air, you see him, maybe that's what he wants to do, but if I'm going to take that Clip bomb or the Adisky bomb, I'll take the Clip bomb every day of the week, news.
But the Adisky bomb is coming in. He gets one. Oh my god! He gets the kill onto Kratos. Well, Adisky with a final rocket. in his dying breath.
There you go. That tells me, News. I will never badmouth a
That's
player ever again.
That's you tell, as we would say in Scotland. And now, with Kratos dead, the Germans are looking to actually get some sort of counter-stack going. Fishkov gets denied so hard by his entry amps with the cleanup. One rocket. And that's back to, you know, square one for the Germans.
Wow, that was a very funny sort of sight to behold, just Fishkov dealing with that sentry gun. They will get some players onto that second point. They've actually popped the Uber over on Se7en Co there. It's maybe a bit of a questionable pop there, but
Se7en made a really great play, TurboTabs. So they were walking in from lower, and rather than walking back as you'd expect him to do, Se7en walks forward beyond Cadis and stickies off seats, forcing him to pop and manages to make it out alive. The kill's coming now as the repush comes in from the Germans. They get Cadis, they get amps. This could be 1-1 on the board with a 60% Uber advantage. They're on 85 right now. There's no off-classes really in a position to contest them. Thalash gets one shot but doesn't connect. Fishkov might die to Tiger, but they should be able to use this advantage and get onto the 7 players.
Oh, thank God. I was a little worried that maybe too many players were being Ubered on that point there. It was a little bit of lag of time actually coming up on the scoreboard, but it will finally tick down. It will be 1-1 for both of these teams, and you know why they got that round back? It was because of Clip, News. That Clip bomb onto second was a wonderful first step into that second point aggression, and very well done. Thank God Clip is backing me up when the Diski's embarrassing me so much with his cutter bombs as well. So,
yeah, Fishkov taking some. Se7en's actually rolled out choke, and there's two of the Germans now. Fishkov joining him in series. Bomb coming out from a Diski just to make some space. It does kind of work. The Germans get a bit tense. They back up. They don't want to commit to that scary looking fight with the Diski flying in the air, as you were saying earlier. So maybe it does play into it quite a bit, and they do have their spawner coming in, so it's going to be 6v6. But with 1-1 on process, you have to think this is where Se7en should be getting back to their strengths, and they should be able to control these stalemates from here, but I don't think they were expecting to lose that round, so maybe they're a bit on edge here, TurboTabs.
Yeah, so they will throw in AMS, and AMS is kind of designated himself as the martyr on this team. If it comes down to those impossible situations, they will throw in the Finnish lad, and the Finnish lad comes up a bit with nothing. Clip will kind of do the same, get taken out. It is a cruel, cruel life for roamers everywhere there, News.
Yeah, and does look like, speaking of roamers, Adiski getting a little bit of a buff, maybe not too much. It doesn't look like they're going to commit to a play. They do have amps coming back in. Clip is still in the respawn queue. Cadis taking damage on the choke. Se7en, can he hit the pipe? No. Cadis surfs around the corner. And the Germans looking quite aggressive on the choke right now. Adelos and Stefan both peeking, trying to pepper Cadis as Clip joins them back on the point. And we're back to baseline.
So what are the set plays here, News? What's the atypical pug look like in a game of process? Do they throw the roamers in? Do they do some sort of sniper play? What is the go-to method for breaking down this stalemated process?
I feel like they need to... Oh, Adiski's in, almost gets the surf. He's gonna get cleaned up here. The banner above the choke keeps him in the air. Adelos gets killed by Cadis sticky trap as Clip comes in, gets one rocket onto Seed, gets the second direct. He will have the force.
Yeah, it was kind of an uncomfortable situation for Seeds to be in, and I'm not sure whether maybe I'm just being tough on the lad. Oh, he's in a horrible position there. They kind of aggress onto him, and Seeds has got no more Uber to kind of deal with. They will kind of wrap all the way around eventually over on Se7en and get the kill onto Kratos and Co. And when the dust settles, News, it looks like it's coming up a bit nicer for the Germans. It is a scout versus a soldier, and we know the scout's going to win every single time in those scenarios. They're capping the midpoint now, but I wonder if Falash will actually take this fight. He's got his medic with him. They could maybe rush this into mid. Oh no, they're actually sitting back.
If I were Se7en, I would definitely look to retake this now. The Germans were back spawned, so there's going to be another 5 seconds of play where they don't have heals on mid. There was only 2 on the cap. They could see in their kill feed when the cap comes in, so they know there's not many players in midpoint. Cade is walking forward now, doing so much damage. Will he get cleaned up? Gets an arrow from Seed. Se7en following up. He does get cleaned up, but there's so much damage being traded. Se7en still don't have the point, so maybe if spawns came in early enough, but it's not going to be close enough. They managed to get the kills. They trade 3 for 1, maybe 3 for 2. I can't remember if someone else in Se7en died, but they're in a position now. They've got even Ubers, and there's not really enough time for them to use these 2 picks, but it looks like they're going to try something anyway.
in moments like this, news, the only time you get to dictate whether or not that push is going to be successful or don't, kind of a fluff. Oh, actually, they popped out the crits over on the Germans now. While this Uber is underway, they will kind of sticky up the point with crit stickies, but I'm not really sure if that's the play there. I mean, nobody wants to touch that point in general when there's stickies on there. I mean, does it really matter if they're crit stickies?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, he fired a good 6 or something like that. He could have stickied off every entrance towards the exit with a crit sticky. And even if they take the time to, clear the sticks, it's still a lot longer than they would be committing otherwise. To be fair to him, though, it wasn't a clear-cut decision. I mean, they had lost a couple of players, and popping crits versus Uber is never going to be great. It could have gone either way, but Se7en didn't really secure any frags. I think that's probably why they went in there on even Ubers. It's because they would have realized that it was crits when I don't know.
So it's process last. So you know the score at this point. They're going to get the sentry gun up. They will get it into a unique spot. I wonder what Sheepy is kind of thinking about this sentry gun spot right now. But he places it on the ramp. And you can see why it's not placed on the ramp usually. The soldiers can spam it from both angles. They both take pot shots at it and it will get cleaned up rather quickly. Se7en will probably just have to start building that sentry gun somewhere else, but because of that sentry gun going down so early, they get in on that left hand side for 3 over on Se7en, and they have no reason to actually pop this. There's no sniper, there's no real spam being had by onto Seeds or onto Cadus. They will pop their own Uber first over on the Germans. A bit uncharacteristic for a process last, but we'll see what they can do to deal with it. They've brought up a Pyro. They're trying to push back Cadus, who's stood on the point. Seeds gets launched up into the air, and nobody's just dying for either of these squads. And as time kind of ticks down, they slowly will get Se7en back down to the respawn queue. And yeah, there was just nobody dying when they popped Uber over on Se7en news.
So the main problem with what Se7en did there, they got a good initial part of the fight where they got position on top and it was free, and they were just mirroring each other across the point, baiting them. They started to play the point, bait them off the high ground, and their positional advantage was better. I'm gonna stop talking though because they are walking through the choke. Tiger dies as an entry. Scout is onto Seeds, but he's not gonna be able to get much damage. Nice rocket from Amps onto Clip, and Dalash follows up with a headshot. Health is not looking good for the Germans, but it is still even Ubers, and I don't think Se7en are gonna be wanting to push with a sniper.
I was just watching Clip throughout that entire journey, and as he tried to do another little rocket jump to get out, he fluffs his rocket jump and he gets sniped. A horrible series of events for that German lad, as they do have Cadus kind of taking advantage. Maybe they bought enough room to get AMS in there, and he gets a healthy amount of damage onto Kratos, but doesn't really come up as enough against the German. He will survive, he will live to die another day, as they've got Kratos again taking more space and being pushed back by the Swede. He will actually get the kill, gets the pipe kill. Very nice, very nice. With Kratos down, they could probably start forcing these choke waves a bit more over on the Germans. Now, Clip goes in about this play. It's a bit overzealous when you realise that your Bob is a bit bigger, but they get the force onto Seeds, and with the Uber exchanged out, and they've got no sort of pressure to use their own Uber, they decide to rotate this around to make the most efficient pathway out of this. A disc does, I can't really call that a force though. Kratos wanted to pop that really early on either way, and they find the flash kill, they find the AMS kill, and they start getting some cap time. They do have 2 players behind for Se7en who don't go for a back cap, they actually go for the kills. They get a trade onto Fishkoff as well. Adiski's just trying to find some ammo so he can start loading up some rockets and maybe getting behind. But during all of this news, they do cap the midpoint. They're forcing a sort of skirmish on this second point as well, and they must be capping at this point. There we go, lads. They are capping now. Adiski is slowly warped.
Oh, the pre-fire.
Oh god, the pre-fire. Oh my god! God, destroyed! Adiski makes it happen. Not only did he have to deal with the pre-fire, not only did he have to deal with the long walk there and the lack of ammo, but he makes the kill happen, and that's sad to say that they might lose because of it, because they get so much chaos rolling in those process hills, as they will clean up the last remnants of that German force, and the second point will finally go to the way of Se7en, and maybe things will calm down for a goddamn second news.
I don't know, I don't think Adiski wants us to calm down. He's going to keep going, moving into the choke. Him and Tiger leading the charge as the rotation comes. Cadis, Seeds, and Amps moving towards PC. They've got a healthy Uber advantage here. They hadn't spotted the combo until just now, so Amps might be able to catch them off here. If Seeds can meet him up, they've still got plenty of time to use this Uber. They have no reason to stack, so they can just leave one to cap. Amps is in, gets some damage onto Clip. He's going to get arrowed up, hopefully. He might actually die here. Seeds managing to heal him up. Nice arrow there. Adiski counterbombing, gets a really good rocket onto Se7en. They will trade for that, but Se7en still in a position. They managed to control the second point. Clip coming in, trying to attempt a sack. That's not going to get any damage, and that's two picks, 30% Uber for them to use. They're getting so many frags here. This should be a round for Se7en. They should be able to play the round here. Kratos still doesn't have Uber yet. They might be able to get onto him. He does manage to get the pop. Smear dies before it goes out though, and there is the cap. No one able to contest for the German.
Someone grabbed weird Asti's doof a bandage or something. There just seems to be so much bleeding here in Nuze. The players, I don't know, they feel like they see the stream on them, they want to be the man, the hero that kind of brings it back for the team, gets that drop or kill onto Seeds, so they throw in not one but two but three players onto that player, hoping that would go down. And Adiski's out. He picks up the health pack, kind of has a quick high five to Seeds over in that rock area, and it's like it never happened. They do give up a lot of ground though, and look at all this splash damage being poured out from Fishcock and from Clip, but Smear takes the quick scout pistol taxi to the core as well, and they're being absorbed by the blob of Se7en.
Clip threads the needle and gets that onto Seeds. I think it was just 2 rockets. He gets that frag, and he's been coming up big for the Germans so far. He's been the linchpin in a lot of these fights, getting that crucial frag onto the medic, onto the demo. And he manages to keep them in this one, because if Se7en had Seeds alive, the full Uber advantage again, 2 rounds up, 13 minutes left, that's not an ideal state of affairs to be defending against.
I mean, how did they do it there, Nuze? I'm here scratching my head. It looked like the position was so good for the Germans, but
my mumble crashed.
And the double... Oh, Connor just popped his head in there for a second. Hey there, Connor. Gone back to our game of Se7en versus Asti's doof.
My mumble crashed. Well, anyway, okay, so slight advantage for the Germans. But Se7en will definitely be getting this Uber before they can use it. So I think both teams are going to be treating this as an even Uber stalemate. Now, going back to what we were saying earlier, 2-1 up for Se7en, 13 minutes on the board. They're not going to be too aggressive here. Not going to try and take any unnecessary risks. So they're letting Smear walk in a little bit here. They're letting him test the waters, if you will.
I mean, it looks like they want to test the waters of that Kritzkrieg. They're kind of going with the full tilt method, where if you want to get controls or rain away from Se7en, you need to get a powerful, scary-looking crit gun, and Kritzkrieg will start that sort of playstyle rolling. But they're a little bit worried about using him, Nuze, because with an Uber in the back pocket for Seeds now, they either have to get a drop onto him very quickly, or they have to get as many kills with that Kritzkrieg as possible before the Uber comes into full effect there. And they're actually losing players one by one. They will pop up the Kritzkrieg now. Seeds responded kind with his own Uber. AMS gets just a face full of, you know, shiny laser beams into his face. Will go down for the cause, but it's just one soldier that dies, so that's Kritzkrieg. It's not quite enough, and they will get that second point. And they should be building it a bit quicker, but Kratos decides he's had enough laser beams. He wants to get back onto that medic gun. Oh my god, again. Not again, Nuze.
Like I said, he doesn't want us to be quiet, and he's back in on second. Gets really good damage on the point. Se7en are going to be able to recontest off the back of that. Adiski playing so well so far this game. Scout is on to Cadis. He does get the frag. Will get cleaned up by Seeds of all people. That's a full wipe for the Germans. They didn't manage to cap second, so Se7en should be able to just walk onto the point. Kratos switching to Pyro, but he's not going to be able to make it in time. And I was giving credit to Clip in the clutch earlier, but Adiski, man, so far he's just been there every time Se7en need him to be.
It seems the trend for Se7en between both of these teams and what's succeeding for them and what's going well against them is the fact that Se7en feel kind of plucking the Germans from each side or each end of the map. It always seems like they're being attacked from 5 different ways, the Germans, and they just can't really deal with it. They do get an early kill onto Kados, and I'm surprised they're still taking this fight over on Se7en. This is a little bit cocky perhaps, but they're rolling with it, and they're rolling with it quite well. They actually get the kill onto Clip. They follow up onto ilost, that wanted to support his buddy Clip in that fight, and the scouts, the soldiers, they're still pressing forward. They're holding now that W key. Se7en will give a big meat shot into the cranium of AMS there, but it will not dictate this fight. It will not dictate this skirmish. Maybe an overextension from this team, but the fact that they made it without a demo man so early, News, is kind of flabbergasted me, and they will kind of turn things around now. Eaton Karma is starting to swing the way of the Germans now, and Flash will get cleaned up on that sort of suicide, and they're just walking away.
They will pop coming out now. Germans initiating that. Kados moving forward with this, trying to get good damage onto the soldiers. Meanwhile, Se7en and Kratos kind of rotated as well, but they haven't got anything for it. Kados landing in the right place at the right time, gets 2 frags onto Se7en and Kratos. No heals for the Germans right now. They are going to try and commit all for seeds. They get 1 nice rocket onto him from Fishkoff. Clip can't quite get the second off, so it won't be a medic frag that they were so desperately wanting. But with 5 players left dead now for the Germans, just Adelos on point to tell them what's going on as he backs into last. Se7en should be able to take this for free and move probably towards lobby. That's where I'd expect them to use this from. They're 25% away from their full Uber advantage. We're going to be seeing a gun on the right side and a sniper in the spawn for the Germans.
It's a real shame as well, because those bombs looked pretty good, News. It looked like the sort of right bombs that you could kind of set up that medic pick, but the scouts are just a whole new pedigree on this Se7en squad, as they will pop in Uber now over on Se7en. They lead with a scout, they lead with a demo man, and they've already got so much point pressure. It's a good thing that Se7en is kind of dancing around that point. Doesn't take a lick of damage despite all those players being on that point. They'll get even the follow-up kill onto Seas, who finds a whopping longer respawn queue compared to his compadres, and with that they should get the second point. They probably should get this midpoint as well, and they're going to get a very, very, very healthy Uber advantage for this their enemy's team's second point.
For Adiski, he's found the gap. He's not going to be able to get it. He doesn't quite make the ledge with the rocket jump. He was hiding in sewers the whole time, but it looked like the scouts were waiting for him. So now with a roamer pick and full Uber advantage, they're going to be looking to walk in through the choke here. Clip with an initiation jump, Fishkoff following up on the other side, and they're slowly but surely pushing Se7en out of the second point. They've not lost anyone for it, not taken too much damage. It's about a 40% advantage now, that's slowly dwindling away, but they're going to be looking to make this work. Tiger watching the lobby entrance, but doesn't get any shot. The Uber comes in now, they're starting to play the point, there's nothing to contest them.
Oh my
Soldiers
God.
come in just at the right moment, it's so close, they might be able to just sit on the point for a second and get it. Clip, can he put out the damage? Kratos is with him.
He needs to do it quicker. Oh my God, he actually launches them off the point, and he just caps it from there. There was so much point pressure, he just slapped them up in the air. If there was any other class there, News, if it was a demo man, a scout, just a medic, a pyro, I don't think anything would have knocked them off the point.
He popped the Uber. For like the shortest amount of time, maybe 3 frames of the game, there was an Ubered scout and medic floating just above the point as Clip and Kratos capped that. But going into this, Germans are going to be feeling pretty good about that one. Se7en taking a lot of damage at the start of this. Position is favouring Se7en early. Clip is going to get farmed as he tries to aggress beyond the scope of his team's position right now. Kados going in deep, gets so much damage onto Se7en. Will get cleaned up by Kratos. That was quite an aggressive thing for him to do, but it looks like the Se7en are on a whole new level right now. They're trying to full-on aggress throughout this. Tiger leading the charge, gets 1, gets 2. Amps with the follow-up, and that's a full wipe from the longest chase I've seen Se7en do in a long while.
Yeah, that was almost Froyo Tech-like in that chase, and they will have an Uber charge ready for this last point. They actually can have the benefit of spawn camping the red team at this very point. They're actually capping out this last point. They probably didn't even need to Uber there, as they will get that round back just as quickly as it went away from them. That is 4-2 for Se7en. Just when you thought the Germans caught a break there, News, they get slapped back by Se7en.
Yeah, talk about a morale crusher. That's got to be pretty depressing for the Germans. That's you know, of the heat of the moment of the last round that they got, and then within about a minute it was gone. Adiski going in really deep, gets 1 rocket onto Se7en. Can he follow up? He might so close. Smear almost dying, but Adiski will get cleaned up for that. I feel like Se7en should be taking the careful route and playing this a lot more passively right now. They might get punished, but they're committing deep into the point. So much damage on Thalash. Seeds gets cleaned up as well. He will trade 2 frags for this. Cadis is out pretty safely. I feel like if he gets a sticky trap in the right place, this could be somewhat of a miracle hold for Se7en. Thalash might be able to get a 3rd as well. Thalash playing really well in this exchange. The stair splash again. Clip must be furious right now. That was a guaranteed kill, but it didn't quite splash him.
Flash is in. Flash takes a pie. Oh no. It's a real shame as well, because I think... oh, he actually pops the Uber! He popped the Uber against that spy, and they paused in shame.
He paused in shame. Adiski, yeah, he missed the backstab, but Thalash had already peppered Kratos a little bit. Adiski kind of half-surfed the rocket into the air, pulled out the revolver, and hit him for enough damage that he would have dropped if he didn't pop the next shot. So you can't fault Adiski and you can't fault Kratos. They both played that as well as they could have. I think the Germans should have been a bit more aware as a team that what could have been going on there, but perfect timing for the spy play for Adiski. Seeds is on 11%. There's 1 fresh death for the Germans, and they have 6 players alive. So if they wanted to, they could be going for an aggressive push here off the 1-player advantage. I think Thalash might still be dead for a while as well. I'm not sure exactly what the respawn time is for him, because my HUD's not perfect right now. But the Germans have been trying this a few times over the course of these 2 maps, where they try these player advantage pushes, and they get good positions with it, and they get quite far into the pushes successfully. But the problem is, I don't think they have the raw DM capability and the skill of the Se7en players. So the longer those fights go on, the more Se7en get the edge in terms of trading damage and DM and focus fire and that kind of thing. And they've not been able to make it work thus far, because I feel like the Se7en players just get the edge in those little small trades, the 1v1s, that kind of thing. But we do see an unpause here, and let's see what the Germans decide to do with it.
Yeah, they're just having a poke around these doorways and these sort of connecting areas, seeing if anybody overextends into them, because they do have there is an Uber advantage for Se7en, but it's not going to kick in until a little bit later on. So that Uber might as well be sitting on 0% right now. They get so much time on the point, and thank God for the fat man, Adiski, peppering everybody off at that point, making sure that they're going to have to give a mighty fight to this fat guy if they want to claim this last point for themselves.
That was so well defended by Se7en. They used their health so perfectly, playing the rotations. They managed to delay the cap just about enough. It was so close to being capped. They're taking position now in lobby. Cadis is out on rollout by himself. There's Soldier that completely doesn't see him and gets piped. The scout going towards last. Stefan, he's going to try and make a play. Adiski is there to meet him.
No, somebody needs to block though. Somebody needs to block, and nobody blocks. Cadis will cap it off. The seeds will pop off the Uber, and during all the skirmishing panic, and Idolos is still kind of kicking about, but he was kicking about, does get cleaned up, and Vishkov doesn't want to see himself die to the blue menace, will kill himself for the cause. 2 times cap, 4 times cap on that midpoint, and another clawed round for Se7en.
Germans are getting so close time and time again, but there's a lot of times where they just can't convert on some of these pushes. We do see them busting through the choke now. 30% advantage. Clip with the counter bomb gets damage onto Tiger, but he does trade. Tiger actually not dying on 13 HP. This is a good opening for Se7en as Amps with a 180 rocket onto Adelos. I think Fishkoff, only one of the Germans contesting lobby. He's probably going to have to back out, but it looks like he's committing a bit longer than he should. Se7en might be able to clean him up here, but he does rotate back to his team. And the Uber is going to be coming out from Se7en any second or more.
Yeah, they've taken so much position from them as well. They will pop off that Uber, but look how much space they've got to work with. It will be 5-2 on the scoreline, and the only positive thing out of everything that happened for the Germans there, News, was Clip got a description tag.
Well, nice find indeed. But now, with 3 minutes left and 3 rounds behind on the board, this is an uphill battle if there ever was one for the Germans. We do see Smear with the sticky jumper, so they full on committed. This I've used this strat on mids before. It's pretty great. I would have liked to see the lock and load, but you know, he's just jumping around the map. Fishkoff dies. Looks pretty chaos. I'd like to see some 1v1s going on.
Yeah, I mean, what more can you say? You just I'm watching in awe as Smear is just jumping around, almost being like the air shot bait to the Se7en lads, but they won't take it. They will focus their fire on bigger fish. As
Se7en, though.
Kratos is just being peppered by these bloody pistols, and the scouts won't die because of very said pistol as well. So they're not even capping the midpoint. They don't want to put them out of the misery. They want to play with their food a little bit here, Nuze. And Cedar's Disky bounces off the head of Se7en instead of actually clobbering it with a shovel.
Smear the sticky jumper.
Yeah,
Can he connect the pipe onto the seeds? No, he can't. But the sticky jumper mid actually working out against Se7en, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you heard me. It's happened. It was a long refight, but the sticky jumper did. I'm gonna say it won them that. Seed's actually playing with Thalash and PC. They're gonna get caught off here. There's nothing they can really do. Thalash gets a miracle pick onto Smear, but he will die, and so will Seeds. That should be curtains for Se7en. But Tiger gets in behind. Gets a pick. He's going to commit on 20 HP. It doesn't get much damage for it. There's a heavy on rollout. I think Se7en are content with a 5-3 at this point.
Well, there you go. The Kratos is just trying to hunt down Se7en. Just gives him a feel-good Uber just to feel happy about himself. And they don't actually want to give up the last point for free, but with only a minute left, I'm not even sure how much I can credit this this game. I'm not sure if I can do it for a whole solid minute here, Nuze, but they will hold on to this last point despite the clowny effects of both Se7en and the Germans, and they're just having a good party on last point, it looks like. There we go. Tiger's moving out.
I would never have thought. I feel like if a team got to the point where they lost to a sticky jumper mid, they would automatically lose last, but I guess Se7en actually managed to defend that, so again, I feel like Germans not quite capitalizing on some of their advantages properly. Cadis is diving through the choke now. He's going to kill Adelos without really looking at him. There is a spy of Kratos. He's going to go for the seed stab. I don't think they will have expected this. Oh, and he fluffs the stab and he's going to get cleaned up. That is a sad tale if I've ever seen one.
You just know that Kratos is never going to play spy again after a play like that. So they're going to get the second point. Maybe there might be some mercy thrown into this if they're quick enough, but there's only 10 seconds left, so I don't think they'll even get this last 6th round onto the board for Se7en. They're making a good go of it. There's a heavy weapons guy who actually mulches AMS, mulch Cadus, but doesn't mulch everybody else. It's 6... Oh wait, no, it isn't 6-2, it's 5-2 still. I thought they capped it. Nope. But we get to see a phenomenon out of Seeds. He got almost 120 points on that map. That's almost unheard of for a medic.
That's what I mean, man. That guy's heal output, it just racks some points on the scoreboard. I'd like to see the logs because the number's probably going to be pretty staggering. But I mean, you were giving him praises earlier. I feel like my man in the match is a Disky for the insane plays he put out throughout that game.
Shovel after shovel after shovel. The man, he doesn't see it as a gimmick, Nuze. He sees it as another weapon to his arsenal. It is a play for them to slap out at any moment. And I would be salty if I was Kratos right now.
Yeah, I would be as well. But, I mean, how salty could you be? I don't think they were expecting much coming into this. I feel like they probably thought maybe we can take a point or two if we get a golden cap. But realistically, I think everyone was expecting a 6-0 here. And they put up a good fight, so credit to them. There was a lot of really tightly fought pushes. I mean, they got 2 rounds this map. It could have been 3 quite easily. Probably could have been 4 quite easily. But they just falling a little bit short. So I think they've got a lot of really good out of this match. I feel like they can learn from this. And they're going to be in playoffs. Am I right in saying that?
Oh, yes, definitely. There's no doubt.
Okay, no doubt for them. So they've got a lot to learn from this game. They've got, things that can be corrected. And if there's anything that would stand testament to, the record of Germans in this game, it is their efficiency as players. So, and we saw Arctic Foxes improve a lot in, I think, season 28. Maybe 27. No, it was 27, and then I think we can probably see these Germans improve a lot over the course of the remainder of the season.
I don't know, man. If they want to improve as much as Arctic Foxes, I think they need to find Ale. They need to find Solentes for that grand final again if they want to make those sorts of improvements. But you're right. They did do much better in this process map than they did in the Badlands, so they should take solace in that. When you're the sort of lower teams facing off against the Goliath himself, you have to take pride in these fights or how you approach these things and what you did well and what you haven't done well, and not look at the grand score or the bigger picture. So Let's look at the taking away from all that. Let's look at the bigger picture. Let's look at all the stats put together onto the screen right now and being highlighted for us in by our producer Gem. It is Se7en's kill counter 34. This kid's pretty good at Scout. Maybe he should be Scout of the season at some point.
Outfracking Tiger on Scout. Wow, that's pretty impressive. I mean,
as the losing team as well.
I said he had a good game the first map, and it wasn't as evident on the stats. This map, he did a pretty good job. There was a lot of times where I feel like him and Kratos were kind of on the same wavelength, and I feel like that contributed to their successes. And also, I mean, the stats don't tell a good story about it because playing against some of the best scouts in the game on Soldier is always going to be difficult. But I feel like Clip and Fishcroft both did a pretty good job. They had pretty good moments throughout those games.
Shame those moments just didn't come enough. There were very nice moments. There were times where the bombs looked really nice, and if you were looking at it without looking at the damage numbers or the health of any of these players, you'd think that they were the winning sort of bombs, but the damage just never found itself. Nuze. I don't know what it is about Se7en, but they're just slippery and they just don't take damage.
Yeah, I mean, they're talented players. Speaking of which, Amps, he can do it on Scout, he can do it on Soldier. 30 frags, 311 damage per minute to top it off, 12 air shots. Statistically, he had a very good game. And I don't feel like he had as much. He was playing quite more pockety than I've probably seen him play. In that, Adiski was the one making the big crazy plays, dying a lot of the time, that kind of thing. And Amps was kind of making space here and there, but staying alive for the most part. Just being around his medic, being sort of the rock that the team needs.
Hold a second here. Wait a tick. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is something I've never seen in the eyes of TF2 before, but we've not got one, not two, but 3 medics on the board here, Nuze.
I'm not sure how Se7en managed that.
Nuze, you're our analysis here. I'm banking on you to come up with the answer.
I did not notice him playing medic, but what I'd imagine would be the case is on a last hold where Kratos died late, they would have switched someone else to medic for the heals on last. I think we've seen teams do that in the past. That's what I would have expected, but I didn't notice it in game, so I'm a bit perplexed.
Well, what we've learned is Se7en is very, very inefficient with his heals. Look at him, he's only sitting on 543 per minute. Ugh, that's like half of seeds. No wonder that boy is stuck on Scout most of the time.
Well, what else speaks to you about the heal spreads and the medic stats we see here?
We could always give a nod to the drops of Kratos, or maybe the lack of drops if we want to be more appreciative of seeds doing a good job of not popping off, and that seems to be a big priority for him. What I've noticed throughout these games is he doesn't want to risk it. He doesn't want to go to the wire when it comes to these pops. He wants to just be safe. If they're in a dangerous situation, he's going to pop it off sooner than he is going to kind of risk it, which I can respect. Sometimes it's just your philosophy or your outlook as a medic. But looking at the other kind of stats, maybe another one is these deaths within Ubers after 20-second mark, a bit higher for Kratos. The fact that he's running a bit more Kritzkrieg, or just a lot more Kritzkrieg in general that we've been seeing out of all the medics this season. Maybe it's just because he's coming from that altered past of TF2 where Kritz was used a little bit more than it is now, but I just didn't feel the Kritzkrieg.
I feel like, I mean, that to some degree, and also like it seemed like they played a bit different in terms of which players were more central to the combo. Like playing with crits, they were playing a little more around Smear for a lot of pushes. But with the stats that we saw there, both soldiers having less heals than both scouts, which is kind of odd. I mean, if you have someone playing pocket, you'd expect them to take more heals, like Amps was, and Amps was doing well with it. But I don't think they quite stood up to the Se7en soldiers this game. And I mean, we could theorycraft all we want, but I'm guessing that if one of them was playing a bit more central, taking a bit more heals, they probably would have had more bases covered when they were having all these fights.
The relative frags by zone. We don't get to see this puppy too often here, Nuze. That if Se7en was put in an environment where he was open and he was free to do what he likes, he thrives. That midpoint top frag, the second point facing off against Se7en, where the doorways are a little bit more open going into it. Top frag for that point of the map. On his own last point, again, freedom, top frag. But when it comes to his own second point, where those doorways get locked off a little bit easier by Cadus, by the rest of the sort of beefier classes on Se7en, it's a little bit harder for him, from what I notice on this graph.
Yeah, this is always an interesting stat to look at. I like noticing the overall team counter as well. So you can see on two tightly contested parts of 5 CP will be the midpoint and the last point. Often when people get good amount of fights, the second point is quite just a transitional thing. So we're not seeing many frags on either second point. Red just managing to get the edge in terms of net frags on their own last, but Se7en in both areas where they were dominating, plus 11 on mid and plus 12 on their own last.
That's double. That's double.
Yeah, that's substantially different.
So pretty much they were playing really well over on the German side. It was just that last point that was a bit of a car crash.
Yeah, but I feel like Se7en, the one thing that's been consistent throughout their entire history as a team, regardless of what rosters they have, one of their strengths is always their last. They've thought it through. They know what they're doing. Each of them has their own kind of role, their own freedoms in the same way, and it always seems to work out, and they always seem to hold. Like even when they lost Seeds and Cadus like really late on second, I thought they were happy to have a 5-3. They managed to hold that last point again, even though it was for Lubrid and that kind of thing. So credit to them. They know how to hold last. It's the bread and butter of their play, and I feel like they showed that and the strength that has when it comes to games.
Yep, you could be doing 99 things right in this game, Nuze, but if one of them isn't pushing last right, you aren't going to get any points. It's just a cruel fact of life for TF2. So we're probably going to power through all these last little slides of the logs checker here, but we do have two very eager gamers waiting to claw themselves into this interview stage here, Nuze, and yeah, let's just get started on our first couple of guests. We should have more guests coming as the time goes on, but we'll kind of go through them one by one. So our interview portion right now. So welcome to Se7en. It is AMS. It is Seeds. And first off, I just want to say, guys, congratulations on your victory. The full fat 60 TF2L points. Did you guys expect any more or any less from the games tonight?
I think we expected this result closer than it was. We're happy with it regardless. I thought it was pretty convincing for us, all true.
How about you, Seeds? Were you nervous at all tonight? I know this is not your first game of the team, but this is
not my first rodeo. It's literally my second rodeo. I was nervous again, but I'm really pleased with the result. It feels really good.
How do you think you guys are settling in with the new roster? I feel like going into this, I was thinking that these guys are a good opponent for you guys to, work on your fundamentals, make sure you're checking the boxes that you need to, just building on that team chemistry. Not too tough of an opponent. I mean, earlier in the season, you guys were having close games with Ascent, but since the new roster, I think most people would give them the edge. They did win one over you on the Essentials Cup. But I feel like these guys were a good opponent. I feel like there's a lot you guys can probably learn and work on from this game. So how was it for you, Ants? Or how being settling into the new roster?
Yeah. Yesterday when we played Ascent, I felt we kind of choked a little bit. It's also because we don't have much chemistry yet. Because it's a new lineup, so it's always going to be a bit difficult to get started properly, especially with the way we play. This team doesn't really do well with having new players all the time. So yeah, it's been a bit difficult, especially since Figer has a pretty different playstyle.
I did say during the cast that I mean, it's the first time in a long time Se7en have had 3 of their players opt out. I think. I mean, I don't know how maybe the last time that happened was at the start of the team when Cadus got rid of Skeege, Walters, and Zoo. But like since then, there's really been like significant changes, and when you've got half the team changing for 3 players that haven't played with the team before, that's pretty substantial. But I mean, let's take it to the outside perspective. Seeds, how's it been joining Se7en as someone new to the team?
It's been great. Like, I feel really able to ask how they want me to position myself or what they want me to do in any given situation. So it's not like I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, Cadis
Okay.
is doing a really good job right
Yeah.
now, like with everyone. It's like it's going
and
well
Turbo.
for us because he's doing really well.
Yeah, it does seem like that's the case. Me and Turbo were talking about this earlier, that a lot of people say that when they play for Se7en, it's not like playing for any other team. It's different, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
things that you can get from it that you don't get from other teams. Has that been the case for you, Steve?
Definitely. Like again, I've learned a lot about positioning on the maps that we've played. I've never played Badlands the way they play it, but it makes so much sense now that I've started doing it.
Or would you care to reveal? Oh, sorry, Turbo, go ahead.
I know there's just someone waiting in the wings. I feel like I need to address him because he has reared himself in here. Hello, Moogle is a sex god. How's it going?
Well, I'm pretty fine. As far as we lost, so how should I feel? Yeah.
Yeah, Moogle, you might have to introduce yourself to the stream. Maybe tell us your real alias. For all the boys and girls out there that don't even know who Moogle is or who it actually is.
Well, you can see it from my name. I'm normally a sex god, as far as you can read. Well, I was the coach, and I'm mentoring my team more or less, and we're doing pretty fine at the moment. But everybody didn't want to come here and join because we lost, and yeah, shit happens, right?
Well,
yeah, I feel like that's always going to be the case from time to time. I have a question for you. So I was saying to Turbo, I feel like, I mean, you're probably the perfect person to ask about this. Like developing as a team, going forward into playoffs. I feel like this was a good match for both you and Se7en, and for you guys especially. I mean, you gave them a good fight on a lot of pushes on process. You could have had 1 or 2 more rounds quite easily. I feel like, from my point of view, it seems like there's a lot you guys can learn from this game, and a lot that can help you going forward into playoffs. Is would you say the same thing, or what are your thoughts reflecting on the game in that sense?
pretty much Moogle, he was asking.
Well, we are playing since, I guess, 4, 5, 6 years, so we can learn every time from our mistakes. And well, our enemy was probably the best team we played so far, and in the league, and they are the best team. And well, we have to develop to beat them, but it's okay. Yeah, nothing more to add, I guess.
How comes your perma comment banned?
Oh, there he goes. He said his words and he left. All right.
Oh.
Back to the Se7en side of things. AMS. Everyone is talking about the fact that Seed has joined, Adiski's joined, Tiger's joined. But the question on my mind right now, AMS, is go back to Soldier. Whatever happened to the scout of AMS?
I got bored of it. I don't know. I kind of feel like I tried really hard when I played Scout, and I played a lot. I put a lot of hours in to get better for a rewind, and then.
So if you could expand on that, what's different about how Soldier feels within Se7en?
Soldier for them is nice because everything's so well thought out. You don't really have to do these feed bombs that I see other soldiers do all the time, where they just feed and their team doesn't even follow up most of the time. With us, we think about everything we do and each other about it. So it's nice to play Soldier in a team like that because you actually get stuff done when you play together.
Very good, very good. And I know I'm a little bit blown back from the interview stage news. I'm not sure if you've got any more clever answers or clever questions, better yet, for our interviewers.
I feel like we've milked our guests for what they're worth.
All right, well, I guess for you guys joining us, I owe you a shout out. So we will go in alphabetical order as per tradition. So AMS, it's always you first.
Shout out to my team, especially Cadis, who's still playing and still trying to make us good, even though it's hopeless.
Wow.
And yeah, shout out to you guys for casting. Thanks.
Seeds.
Shout out to Se7en, Sprite, Matty, and that's it. Thanks.
News. Have you got any special people out there?
Shout outs to Se7en, shout outs to where das liest ist doof, because I'm not just going to call them the Germans for the rest of time.
Hey, okay, it's hard. It's hard to
It
talk
is hard.
in German.
It is hard. I have been avoiding it.
I am helping everybody here by avoiding it.
And then shout outs to you, Turbo. Shout outs to Gemm on production. Shout outs to Amps and Seeds for joining us.
As per tradition, I'm going to gloss over Gemm. He doesn't have any rights here. He's a producer. So, as he talks in the chat. All right. So I'm going to do the one. I'm going to do the boring stuff. Plug our rubbish. Twitter, Discord, Facebook, YouTube, website. There we go. That was quick. All right. teamfortress.tv. Thanks for joining us, guys. I've been TurboTabs. And joining us has been Nuze and Gemm on our coverage production. And also want a big thank you to AMS NCs as well for joining us in interviews. And let's not forget Moogle Sex God as well. God bless. Good night. And happy days.
Google